Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyper Roll with Artark. Yesterday, we asked the question at the very end of the video, what can possibly beat 4 aces? Today, we're going to answer that question, but first, graphic. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill by now. Remember the lives on the weekend, starting at noon Pacific time. Now, I think the build I'm going to show you is one of the strongest builds in the game right now. It's just not that easy to get into, but let's get into it. I would not suggest forcing this build, but if you get an Oxforce early, then it's probably safe to go for it. And the reason I say that is the Oxforce are pretty hard to get. Obviously here I went with the portable forge, and I'm just going to try to create a really strong front line. Alistar is the 3-cost Oxforce, and there are 2 2-costs, but Oxforce doesn't really hit its power until you get to 4, and you need Viego for that. And the build we're talking about is Oxslingers. And your goal, of course, is to get the 4 Oxforce out front, and then fill the rest of the team with Spellslingers, so you end up with a 6 Spellslingers, 4 Oxforce scenario, which will give you a really strong front line and a backline that can wreak absolute havoc. Use Lux as your item holder for all things that go on to Neeko. Once you have a 2-star Lux and at least 1 more on the bench that you can put in later, you can stop rolling at that point, because you don't want to waste all of your gold just going for 1 costs. You want to get those 2 costs and 3 costs, because that's where the real power of this build comes from. When you get into stage 4, you're likely forced to roll because you want to start filling in some of the Oxforce so you get more protection. I'm stuck here with a Blitzcrank that really isn't part of the build, but he can function. I'm building up Alistar to be the main tank, and then for this item, I'm going to grab the BF sword because that is either a Spear of Sojun or Hextech Gunblade, depending on what else I get. Now, what makes Oxforce so good is, as you probably know, they don't die immediately when they get low. They get a shield for 50% of their health, so they kind of have a second life. This is going to protect them a little bit from aces, which is why it can end up beating a 4-ace team. Of course, you don't likely know you're going to face one at this point, but it's still a good build anyway. Choices like this become really tricky. Thrill of the Hunt is great. It's great to get that burst healing, but since this is going to rely on Spellslingers, Jeweled Lotus is probably more valuable for you. Since we have not gotten a hero augment yet, probably going to be the 3rd augment, which could be tier 4, at what point I'm hoping for the one called Easy Being Green, which is a Neeko augment that gives you more power with Spear of Sojun. So that'll allow her to cast more often, have more power, and overall take over the match. And again, I can't stress enough, having a friend at Riot is really, really important. As you can see, 6-1, we got Neeko. We have another one waiting in the shop. She is going to be the key to making this all work, because she is incredibly powerful. And if we can get Easy Being Green, it will be even more powerful. And we've now locked for the 2-star Neeko, and I haven't really used her that much this season, at least in a lot of videos. We're going to remedy that with today's and tomorrow's, because she is one of the stronger champions. She just doesn't fit into a lot of the easily forceable meta builds. We come out of the NPC round and we're ready for the hero augment, and we could grab the Viego augment and guarantee us the 4 Oxforce, but I'm really looking for Easy Being Green. Hopefully it is in here. There it is. This will give us a Spear of Sojun. It will empower Neeko and any other champion that we manage to get a Spear of Sojun on. Notice we have also brought in a Nunu just for fun and frolics, because he doesn't necessarily fit into this build in the long run. We're going to go ahead, tank up our Annie a little bit. Then give Nunu a little more spell power, because that can always be moved over to a Spellslinger if we choose to do so. But Nunu is really fun to have on any team, since he is going to wander around and just destroy things while other things are destroying things as well. And as you will see with that Spear of Sojun, Neeko is just sinister. She has so much power. The Jeweled Lotus is allowing some of her spells to crit, and she is able to destroy the damage charts. Now, traditionally, Oxslingers is 6 Spellslingers for Oxforce. However, if you have a good shot of getting 2-star threats like Nunu and Fiddlesticks, you probably then want to go with 4 Oxslingers, 4 Spellslingers, and those 2 threats, as they're going to give you more power overall. And with 2 Nunus and 2 Fiddlesticks, I feel like that's the better way to go at this point, because they will provide more distraction against the opposing teams. We've also turned Annie into a really strong tank, so we have a good shot of holding on. Now this is a 4 ace team, which means they can execute anyone under 30% health. The difference here is that our Oxslingers are able to withstand that, hold things back from Neeko, and allows her to get into their backline and do tons of damage. And that ended up bringing us into the top 4, and we can 2-star the Fiddlesticks and bring him out, and we are 1 Neeko away from gold. For item choices, I decide to go here with the Chalice of Power, since we don't have any AD on this team per se, and that's what it was giving us. So we can bring Nunu down so he gets more AP, since he's also now a 2-star. A second Chalice of Power, and we have a lot of power going out to Nunu and Neeko. And we just need 1 more Neeko, and we can solidify this thing with real power. And we face off against an Infiniteam Ghost team that's got a little bit of mishmash going on. Not quite sure what they had planned here, but as you can see, we tear through them very quickly, so much so that Fiddle doesn't even get triggered. And the next team we have to face is the 4 Aces team, which now has a 2-star Mordekaiser. So we need to spread everything out. We don't want to get hit with a team clearing ult from Misfortune, who has 2 Spear of Sojuns and a Giant Slayer, or a Giant Slam from Mordekaiser, because either of those could end our day really quickly. But the key here is our Oxforce. They absorb the damage, get their shield, and allow our backline to continue wiping the team out. The Ghost team goes down, and it's GG for everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tomorrow, a little bit more Neeko, and as always, have an absolutely awesome day.